So the purpose of this video is that I'd like to show how to construct some of the tables for the for module 2 database assignment. So we are required to construct 5 tables: customer, credit card account, item type, merchant, and sale. So one of the things that I want you to note is that these 5 tables I have already constructed here, and I'm just demonstrating some key features. So if you look at the design view, if I click on customer and look at the design view, I have the CID as well, and you can have that as and then the scene name as short text. Basically, short text name can be 50 characters wide, or I left it as 255. Similarly, C city is short text, C state is short text, and state could even be like 2. So 2 characters down below in the field size. C zip and C phone. C annual income is more like currency that you could use. And then if I go to the credit card account, I have the credit card number as short text. Please don't use an integer or anything like that there. You want to use it as short text because otherwise, some of the Access databases, opening them could be a little bit difficult. CID is a number. It has to, since this CID has to match the customer's CID, it has to be exactly the same way, defined exactly the same way as in the customer table. In the customer table, if you go back, in the customer table, we define this as a number and integer. And so in the credit card account table, we should also define it as number and integer here. Similarly, the current balance is currency. Expiration date is date time. So if you open this, you could have this as date time. And the format, you can change the format here on how you can demonstrate, you can display it, format it. So this, rather than this format, you could choose any format that you want, but the date should be this date time here. Now, I'm going to close these two. Then we have the merchant table, which is very similar. MID is number and integer. Name is short text. Address short text. State, zip, city, everything is short text. And then the item type is item type ID, and item type is short text. So ID could be 1, and then item type could be clothes. ID could be 2, item type could be electronics, and so on and so forth. That's the idea here. The key thing is that, let me close these two. When you come to the sale table, it is feeding off of everything else. It uses the merchant ID as a foreign key. So MID, exactly how we defined it in the merchant table, you need to have it. Here, MID number, integer, that's how we defined it in the merchant table. Credit card number is short text. The other thing that I want to point out is that when you have the when you build the credit card number as short text in the credit card account table, you could build it as like 20 characters or 16 characters, right? Because if the credit card numbers are 16 digits that you want to keep only those 16 digits, you could change this field size to 16 digits. But how you define in the credit card account is exactly how you need to define it in the sale table too. So here I defined it as credit card number as 255 characters. And in the sale table also, I need to define it as 255 characters here. Then date, when is the sale happening, date, time once again. And here we change the format to year, month, day. And then the total sale amount is currency. Item type ID. This is again, this one is a foreign key coming from the item type table. So if you go to the item type table, we define this as number and integer. Exactly the same way I want you to define it as number and integer here. And the current balance is currency. So we have, I want you to go through these and then match the data types across these tables. The reason for you to match these is, I'm going to come back to that in just right now, is that if you go to the database tools at the top, this is where you construct the relationships, and the relationships are constructed using this database tools tab, and by clicking on the relationships. If you look at the relationships here, I already have these relationships constructed. So for example, let's look at the customer and the credit card table, right? So if I don't have this relationship, I can delete this and I'd show you how to construct it. The way that if you create the data types correctly, then you can drag and drop the CID, you can drag and drop from the customer table to the credit card account table. And then it opens up this this new screen. What it's saying is that it is a relationship from the customer table to the credit card account table, which we already know because that's how we dragged and dropped the CID. And we are trying to match the CID from the customer table with the CID from the credit card account table. The two things that I want you to do here is enforce referential integrity. Click on enforce referential integrity and click on cascade update related fields. These two are very, very crucial for you. So I want you to check these two. What this means is that, let's say that you have Bill Gates as a customer in your customer table, and Bill Gates calls you and tells you, Bill Gates customer ID right now is 10. And Bill Gates calls you and tells you that I don't want to be 10 customer ID, I want to be 1 customer ID. And when Bill Gates calls, you just adhere to what he wants, right? So, so you want to change Bill Gates ID from 10 to 1. And when you are changing that, you don't want to go to the credit card account table. Bill Gates may have 100 credit cards in the credit card account table with your organization. You don't want to change each one of them manually in the credit card account table. So this cascade updates will change it automatically for you. Just because you check this checkbox, you click this checkbox, this cascade update would make sure that when you change Bill Gates customer ID in the customer table, it's automatically changed in the credit card table. So you click create, and that's what happens here. And you should see one-to-many relationships here, one on the customer side and many on the credit card side. That means that each customer can have many credit card accounts. Similarly, when you look at the merchant, each merchant will appear multiple times in the sale table. I constructed it the same way. MID to MID, enforce cascade update related fields, and credit card number to credit card number, enforce referential integrity, cascade updates. The key things here, again and again, I'm emphasizing, these two have to match. The how you define the data type in the credit card number, I defined it as text, short text, 255 characters. You want to define it as short text, 255 characters in, I also defined it as short text 255 characters in the sale table. If you choose to define it as short text 20 in here, in this, you need to define it as short text 20 in here too. They need to match exactly for you to establish these relationships. Similarly, the item type to item type ID from the item type table to this table also match. Now I have, so that's how I construct the relationships. And I'm going to close this. Now you can see some of the data for item types. I have 1 for electronics, 2 for clothes, 3 for perfumes, and so on and so forth. And I have a few customers, and I have a few credit card numbers, and I have a lot of sales that are included, 60 sale records in this. I'm going to close all of these. Do you have any questions at this point?
I was just going to ask in terms of the,
Okay.
yeah, in terms of the extra fields you wanted us to populate, those are all completely random, right? We can just put whatever numbers, whatever names that we want to generate for them.
Yeah, that's fine. You can make up the data. You can make up the data creatively, subject to the primary key, foreign key constraints.
Okay.
So in other words, I can try to let's go through the, that's a really good question. So let's go through this. I can try to make up data in the credit card account, right? So let's say that I try to make it 9876, a new row. I'm trying to make it up 6531 0029 9622, right? But if and let's say that I assign a credit card balance of, I don't know, maybe $230, right? And expires 2021 10, right? So, and then if I try to save it, look at what it says. You cannot add or change the related record is required in table customer, right? So what it means is that I am trying to assign a credit card to customer ID 0. And is there a customer by name customer ID 0? With customer ID 0? No, right? So I don't have any customer with customer ID 0 in my table. So it's protecting me. And why is it protecting me? Because we created those relationships. Remember, we created this relationship between the customer and the credit card table. And we are saying one of the things we said is enforce referential integrity. That means that you cannot have a credit card. You cannot have a ghost credit card. You should not be inputting a credit card without a valid customer existing in the customer table, right? So that's exactly what this is doing right now. So if I try to save this, it will not let me save because it is enforcing that I need to find a valid customer in the customer table and assign this credit card. Otherwise, imagine the business case, right? So business case is that otherwise your company is going to lose millions of dollars because you are assigning these credit cards to customers who do not exist. There's no accountability. and somebody will use this credit card and start using it for all the sales and so on and so forth. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you input these things, use a valid customer. So you can use your creativity to input anything you want. And one of the valid customers is 5170, I believe. And I can use that and I can save it now, not a problem. So you could input anything you like as long as you have corresponding valid records in the other tables. So this becomes especially even more, a little more involved in the sale table, because in the sale table, when you input these, if you add something new, you not only have to match the, let's say that I have this as 5, I add something else, right, which is 600. And now I do add a merchant ID. So I have to match a merchant ID who exists in the merchant table. And then I need to match a credit card that exists in the credit card table. And then I have to match an item type that is there in the item type table. So one of the merchants that I have is like 6150, right? So I could add that. And one of the credit cards that I have is, I don't know, maybe the credit, I'll take one of these, right? So 0058. So when I come to the sale table, I'll add this 0058 6784 0021 3482. So I know that that's a valid credit card number because I copied and pasted from the credit card table. And then the sale date, when did this happen? So this is like, I'll say 2020 in the just before the pandemic, maybe 2020 02 01, something like that. And the sale was for $125. But now I also have to match one of the item types. What item type did I buy? You know, so you could look at, these are the only 5 valid item types, 1 through 5. Was it electronics, clothes, perfumes, groceries, furniture? So maybe we bought something like perfumes, which is like 3. So I'm going to add that item type of 3 here. So when you add these records, you can use your creativity, but these things have to, wherever you have those relationships between the tables, the value that you add should already exist in the other table that this has a relationship with. In this case, sale has a relationship with merchant, credit card, and item type, right? So merchant, credit card, sale has these 3 relationships. So that's what you need to do.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on these tables and relationships, please? So I'm going to close all these and I'm going to show a couple of queries. These queries are the one of them is the scene name ascending. So scene name ascending query. Let's take as an example of what we were asked to do. So when you create these queries, let's go through this from the beginning, right? Rather than using an existing query that I already have. I'm going to go through and then create tab at the top. If you click on this, and then you can choose query design. And I'm going to bring all these 5 tables, click add and close. So this one would give you all of these 5 tables here. And now all you have to do is, if somebody could read off the fields or the columns that should be there in this query, I could just keep double clicking them, because I don't want to be switching back and forth between these screens. So I can show you how to create these queries, right? So can one of you tell me what should be in this CNAME ascending query?
Customer name.
Customer name. So I go to this, once I add all these tables, it's easy for me. So I'll get this customer name. I just simply double click. I get it here. Okay, next one, please. Yeah, if you look at the assignment queries, then what's that?
Is that customer city?
Oh, customer city. Okay, I added that. Next one.
Customer state.
Customer state. All right. And then maybe zip. Is there a zip or?
Yeah, zip code and then phone number.
Phone number. And then what else from the other tables, please?
They have the annual income, customer annual income.
Okay.
Search for customer.
And what else? Total sale. So you wish from the sale, right? So let's just say that the only thing that remains is is there a merchant table? Are there fields for the merchant table? Hello?
I can't see that.
You don't see the merchant table. Okay, let's say that we have the total sale amount, right? That is required. In the CNAME ascending, is that required, or are these just the ones?
For the sale, we need the total sale amount.
We need the total sale amount. Okay. And then we were required to sort by CNAME ascending, right? Let's just say that these are the fields. If there are other fields, you can bring them in. So you can go to this sort row here and click ascending, and that's what gives you this query, and you can run it. This big red exclamation mark at top left. You could run this, and it would show you all these fields, and it would show you the customers. It would show you their phone numbers, annual income, and it would sort them by customer name. And I'm going to go back to the design view, and you can save it by right clicking, and I can save it as C name ascending V2 version 2, because I already have one of them in my queries. The other couple of things that I want to demonstrate to you is total sales by customer CNAME and total sales by customer name top 3. So let me just close this, and I'm going to go to create query design. So I'm going to select customer. So one of the common mistakes that I see is that since it is just total sales by CNAME, I've seen in the past students select just the customer and the sale. The problem with this is, if I'll demonstrate what the issue is here. Students select a CNAME and the total sale amount. And here we have to group by the CNAME. In other words, we have to look at all the customers we have. We have Bill Gates as customer, Jeff Bezos as customers, and Elon Musk, and so on and so forth. And we want to see how much Bill Gates spent with us, right? So we want to aggregate or sum up everything that Bill Gates spent on by summing up the total sale amount. We don't want individual records for Bill Gates. We want to see just Bill Gates once and how much Bill Gates spent in terms of total sale amount. So to do that, we have to click this totals button. This is very crucial at the top. So if I click this totals button, you would see immediately this one is highlighted, and then you see the CNAME and group by, right? So what we are saying is that we are grouping by CNAME. So Bill Gates appears only once, Elon Musk appears only once. So each customer appears only once, and we are going to sum them up, sum each customer's total sale amounts. And how do I sum them up? You have to come to this and you have to select the correct function, sum it up, all right? So add them all together. That's what we are doing here. And you have more sophisticated capabilities. If you want to find out the standard deviation, you could find that. You could do the average of each customer. But we are not going to get into that in this. We are only interested in how much total amount they spent. So we'll select this sum and look at what happens. I get each of these customers, I make the sum the same amount. Does this look right to you?
No.
No, right? So this is not right. This is not because if you look at it, there's a glaring gap here. The customer table is there, the sale table is there. What's the gap here? Okay, let me bring up another thing. Let's look at our relationships. The customer table is here, the sale table is here. What's the gap between this and this? What is in here, the relationships?
Is it the credit card account?
What's that?
The credit card account?
Exactly. Here we have related, the customer and the sale are not directly connected, but they're connected indirectly through the credit card account. Customer is connected to the credit card, and credit card is used for, based on that customer's credit card, that's what is used to pay for the sale. That's the business case, right? That's the business scenario. Here, we have the customer, we have the sale, but we don't have the credit card. We did not bring the credit card account table, and that is the mistake. The reason is that now the query thinks that the reason that I had seen students do that is because the question only asks you to show the customer name and the total sale amount. But since they're not related in this query, it's bringing in the incorrect amounts. So to show the relationship, you have to bring the credit card account table. And if you just bring it, drag and drop it, you may not have any, you don't need to bring the credit card number or any field, any column from this credit card account table. You are just fine. You just need to bring this table into this. Now, if you run it, you would see the correct results, right? So we have done CNAME, customer, group by, and then we use the totals, and we use the sum function here, and then we are also going to use the sort by CNAME. And now if I run this, I'll have all these sum correctly reported here based on how much each customer spent. That's because we have done the right thing in the design view by bringing in the customer table, not only the customer table and the sale table, but also the connecting table in the middle. And so whenever you have customers and the sales that you need to report, I need you to be very careful. I want you to make sure that they're connected, and you bring the credit card account table as well. Does that make sense, or you have any questions or comments?
It does make sense. It's helpful.
So now I'm going to call this as total sales by customer CNAME version 2. And I close that. The next I want to demonstrate total sales by customer CNAME. Our top 3 sales by customer, right? So I'm going to copy this. This is an easy way to do this. So I want you to pay attention to that. I'm sorry, my dog is right. He is just trying to get into something that he should not be getting into. So I'm going to do the top 3. It's very easy if you follow this. I'm going to take this query that I created, total sales by customer CNAME V2, right click, copy, and then I right click anywhere in this panel here and then paste. When I paste it, it's going to ask me what name do you want to do this, right? So I'm going to change this to top 3 sales by customer version 2. Right, so top 3 sales by customer version 2. Click OK. So I have this here. And now if I go to the design view, I'll show you how to do this very simply. You already constructed everything. You got the customers and you got the total sale amount by customer. In top 3, the only thing we need to do is to make sure that who are our top 3 customers. very likely our top 3 customers are knowing their net worth, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, right? By top 3, I don't mean the top 3 by their names. I want the top 3 by the amount, the total amount that they're spent. They're the most valuable customers, right? So I want you to get this here, return, when it says return, right now it is saying all. If you open it, it gives you some suggestions. The top 5, top 25, top 5%, top 25%. I don't want you to select any of those. Instead, I want you to just override that and then type 3. But the top 3 should be by the total sale amount. So I'm going to sort this by descending the total sale amount. In other words, the highest total sale amount that a customer spent would be first, the next highest will be next, and so on and so forth, right? And then I have to take away this sort here, because if I sort by CNAME, it defeats the purpose. I only want to sort by the total sale amount in the descending order so I could see the top 3 customers, right? So I did this. To recap, I got this total sales by customer CNAME. I copied it. I pasted it. I went to the design view. I changed the return to 3 and total sale amount to descending. I got the total sale amount to descending. That's the only sorting option I chose between these 2 fields. And if I run this, I should see just these 3 customers. You can see here the sum of total sales is 1625, 1575, and 1550. In the descending order, I'm seeing the top 3, right? So any thoughts or questions at this point on how we did this?
I guess the challenge would be in the doing. It's quite clear. Thank you for making it this clear.
I agree. Thank you.
I think what I would do is I'll get this video, right? So the purpose of this video is to make it available. So I'll post this video in the homework module 2 assignment page. It would take me about like 2 to 3 hours, depending on when WebEx will make this video available for me. And then I have to go through a little bit of processing to put it on YouTube. So that itself, that production process would take me about an hour. Download it, bring it into Camtasia, and then upload it to YouTube, get the captions right, and so on and so forth. So what's that?
Can I ask a question about just the data table construction?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to make you go back. So for dates, does it matter how we have our date in there? Because mine is not the same as what the example is shown.
Okay, so let me just so your question is for the date, how should it appear, right? So let's take the credit card account, right?
Yeah.
And we have the expiration date. So I chose date time here, right, in this.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a similar like date time, you could choose that, right, in your as the data type.
Okay.
And when in terms of appearance, this is where the format comes in. You know, when you choose each of these fields, it shows you format, right? If I choose currency, it would show you what type of format it should be displayed in, and the format is currency. So most often you don't change anything in this format. For the date, in this format, if you could choose, you could type in what format you like, right? So for example, if I want year, month, and days, 4 digits for the year, 2 digits for the month, and 2 digits for the day, choose this format, and then I can save this, right? So I'm not so much worried about the format display. And I would like you to just adhere to this, the exact data type here in terms of date time, right?
Okay.
This is more important because, you know, if there's a dispute, you want to find out the time too, right? So you want to see what time it is. And the format may not display that time, but that's okay because you always have that in the back end. It may not display that to you, but you can go back and look at it.
Okay.
Does that make sense,
Yes.
Janish?
Yes, it does. And then I have another question about customer
Okay.
table. So in the customer ID where we're generating our own, we're making those up, it should be a unique ID, correct?
Right. So the so we designate each of these as one of the things as one of the columns or fields as a primary key. So we designate CID as primary key here. So that means that it is unique, right? So if you allocate customer ID 10 to Bill Gates, and you can't assign the same customer ID 10 to Jeff Bezos because, you know, that's a big no-no. You don't want that to happen, right? Then you are confused between who is who because you are using that customer ID with the credit card numbers. So that's the idea. So each primary key should be unique.